stop. Before you scroll past this video, I need you to hear me out for just 10 seconds. Because something is happening right now, today, that is directly affecting your body, your thoughts, and your ability to stay silent. And if you've been feeling this strange, almost suffocating pressure building inside your chest, like there are words clawing their way up your throat that you haven't said out loud in months, maybe years, you need to watch this video all the way through. Because I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this. The universe is literally making silence impossible for you right now. And by the time this video is over, you're going to understand exactly why. You're going to understand why you've been feeling this way. You're going to understand who has been quietly stealing your voice. And you're going to understand what this cosmic moment is demanding from you. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the most important thing you hear all week.
Okay, let me be completely honest with you right now. Today, June 8th, 2026, something significant is happening in the sky. Something rare. Something that only happens every few years in exactly this configuration. Mercury, the planet that governs your mind, your voice, and every word you speak, is forming an intense, almost violent aspect with Pluto, the planet of secrets, transformation, and psychological depth. And I know what you might be thinking. No, it's just astrology. It's all abstract. It doesn't actually affect me. But here's the thing. The effects of this alignment are anything but abstract. If you have been feeling an overwhelming, almost urgent need to speak up about something you've been holding back, if there's a truth you've been swallowing down for weeks, months, or even years, if something inside you has been quietly screaming to be heard, that is not random. That is not anxiety. That is not you being dramatic. That is the cosmos doing exactly what it is designed to do. And there's more, because this isn't just about Mercury and Pluto alone. There's a third layer to today's energy that most people are completely unaware of, and that layer changes everything. I'll get to that in just a moment. But first, let me show you exactly what's happening in the sky. Because once you understand the mechanics, the feeling will finally make sense.
Let's talk about what's actually going on up there. Mercury is currently in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer Mercury is completely different from what we just came out of. Last month, when Mercury was in Gemini, thinking felt lighter, more detached. You could analyze a situation without getting emotionally involved in it. Things felt more logical, more manageable. But the moment Mercury moved into Cancer on June 1st, everything changed. Suddenly, your thoughts are soaked in emotion. Your mind becomes this massive, sensitive sponge, absorbing not just your own feelings, but the feelings of everyone around you. Your memories, your childhood wounds, your need for emotional safety, all of it starts bleeding into how you think and what you say. Has that been happening for you? Have your thoughts felt heavier, more personal, more tied to your heart these past few days? If yes, that's Mercury in Cancer doing exactly what it does. But here's where today gets really interesting. At 2:50 in the afternoon, Mercury in Cancer forms what's called a quincunx, a 150-degree angle, with Pluto in Aquarius. Now, a quincunx is one of the most uncomfortable aspects in all of astrology, and I want you to understand why, because it's crucial. Cancer and Aquarius, they have absolutely nothing in common. Cancer is water. Aquarius is air. Cancer is emotion. Aquarius is logic. Cancer lives in the past. Aquarius lives in the future. Cancer protects and nurtures. Aquarius disrupts and dismantles. These two energies can't see each other. They operate in completely alien languages. And when Mercury, your voice, your mind,
gets caught between these two forces, the tension that builds is almost unbearable. It's like two parts of your soul desperately trying to communicate with each other, but neither one knows how to reach the other. So the pressure builds and builds and builds until something has to give. But wait, there's one more piece to this puzzle, because Pluto isn't just sitting there quietly. Pluto is retrograde right now. And when Pluto goes retrograde, all of that deep, excavating, truth-forcing energy turns inward. It stops digging up the external world. It starts digging up you, your psychology, your buried secrets, the parts of yourself you've spent years carefully avoiding. So picture this. You've got Mercury in Cancer, desperately trying to maintain emotional safety, trying to keep the peace, trying to hold everything together the way it's always been held together. And then you've got Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, relentless and uncompromising, demanding radical honesty, demanding that you strip away every comfortable illusion and face what's actually real. These two forces are colliding today, and only one of them is going to win. But this is only the beginning, because yesterday's energy was actually preparing you for this moment. And when I tell you what happened cosmically 24 hours ago, it's going to completely reframe everything you've been feeling.
Here's something I think is really important to understand about the timing of all this. Yesterday, June 7th, Mercury formed a harsh square to Neptune. And if you felt like you couldn't trust your own thoughts yesterday, like everything was blurry and confusing, like you were walking through thick mental fog and couldn't find solid ground, that was real. That was not in your head. Mercury square Neptune creates this strange, disorienting experience where the mind fills with static. You question your own instincts. You can't tell what's real and what's imagined. Your emotions become overwhelming in a way that doesn't quite make sense. I felt it too. It was this weird, almost haunting feeling of not being able to think clearly, like trying to see through frosted glass. And for some of you, that confusion was deeply unsettling. Maybe you questioned whether what you were sensing about a person or situation was even accurate. Maybe you second-guessed yourself more than usual. But here's what I want you to understand. That confusion wasn't a punishment. That fog was preparation.
Because when Neptune's veil finally lifts and Pluto comes into focus, the truth doesn't just become clear, it becomes undeniable. The static crystallizes into a signal so sharp, so precise, that you wonder how you ever missed it. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's exactly what today is designed to do. The illusion shatters, and what's sitting underneath it is what we need to talk about right now. Because I believe there are three specific secrets that this Mercury-Pluto transit is forcing to the surface today. Three hidden truths that are becoming impossible to ignore. And if you're feeling this energy, at least one of these is going to hit you somewhere deep. Stay with me, because the first secret is something that most people carry their entire lives without ever realizing it.
The first secret that surfaces today is about your voice. Not just your literal voice, your right to speak, your right to be heard, your right to take up space with your thoughts, your ideas, your truth. And for a lot of people, this one goes incredibly deep. Here's what I think is happening for many of us today. You might suddenly become aware, really aware, maybe for the first time, of why you've been holding back for so long. Why you stay quiet when you disagree. Why you shrink in meetings or conversations. Why you downplay your intelligence, hide your real opinions, bite your tongue when every cell in your body wants to speak. And the revelation, the secret Pluto is dragging into the light, is this. That silence isn't natural. It isn't who you are. It's something that was taught to you. Somewhere along the way,
You learned that speaking up wasn't safe, that your voice was a problem, that the price of belonging, the price of love, the price of peace was your silence. Maybe it was a parent who dismissed you every time you tried to express yourself. Maybe it was a teacher who made you feel stupid for asking questions. Maybe it was a sibling who always talked over you, or a group of friends who made it clear that fitting in meant going along with things you disagreed with.
And with Mercury sitting in Cancer right now, we're not just talking about personal wounds here. We're talking about ancestral patterns. This goes deeper than your individual experience. Think about the generations before you, the women who were told their opinions didn't matter, the children who were punished for asking why, the people who learned that survival meant silence, that safety meant invisibility. These patterns get passed down through families, through cultures, through the nervous systems of the people who raised us, whether they ever intended to pass them on or not. And Pluto in Aquarius is done waiting. It is literally ripping up that old contract, the one that said stay small, stay quiet, stay safe. Because that contract, it expired. It's void. It never actually served you. It only served the systems and people who benefited from your silence. Does that land for you? Here's what I've seen happen with this transit, and honestly, what I've experienced myself during Mercury-Pluto aspects. The awareness doesn't come gently. It comes as this sudden, almost visceral realization, like a light being switched on in a room you've been navigating in the dark your entire life. You might find yourself in a conversation today where something inside you just snaps, where the words come out before you can stop them, where you say the thing you've been swallowing down for months, and feel this wave of shock and relief at the same time. And I want to say this as clearly as I possibly can. That is not you losing control. That is you breaking free. That is the ancestral gag order being torn away. And yes, people might react. The people who benefited from your silence are not going to love this. Some of them are going to push back hard. But I want you to ask yourself something. How long are you willing to make yourself small to keep other people comfortable? Because the universe is done asking. But here's the thing. This first secret goes even deeper when you realize there's been someone in your life, possibly someone very close to you, who has been actively contributing to that silence. And if you felt something off about a specific person lately but couldn't quite name it, what I'm about to share is going to explain everything.
The second secret this transit is forcing to the surface is one of the most difficult ones to confront, because it involves someone you probably care about, someone you've trusted, someone who's been close enough to you that you never question their motives. Let me explain. Mercury-Pluto aspects have this extraordinary, almost X-ray quality. They allow you to see through people's words to the intention that's underneath. They expose the hidden power dynamics in your relationships with a clarity that's almost surgical. And today, with the quincunx energy in full effect, you might suddenly see someone in your life with startling, undeniable clarity. For a lot of people, this is going to be what astrologers call a Mercury figure, someone who lives in your immediate communication environment, a sibling, a close friend, a coworker, a partner, someone you talk to regularly, someone whose presence shapes how you think and feel about yourself on a daily basis. And the secret Pluto is bringing to light is this. This person has not been supporting you. They've been containing you. Not necessarily in obvious ways, not necessarily with cruelty. It might be subtle. It might look almost like care on the surface. Maybe they've been gently questioning your instincts. Are you sure about that? That seems risky. Maybe they've been subtly dismissing your ideas before you even fully develop them. Maybe they've been making offhand comments that leave you feeling smaller, less confident, less certain of your own intelligence and judgment.
And here's the part that Pluto is forcing you to see clearly today. They might be doing it because they're afraid of you. Pluto rules envy, especially the deep, hidden, buried kind of envy. The kind that even the person feeling it might not fully recognize in themselves. Your growth makes this person uncomfortable. Your voice, your confidence, your potential, these things trigger something in them. And so unconsciously, they've been quietly working to keep you exactly where you are. Because if you stay small, they feel safe. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not saying this to make you paranoid. I'm not saying everyone around you has bad intentions. Most people aren't doing this maliciously. But if there's been a nagging feeling in the back of your mind about a specific person, if there's someone in your life who always seems to appear right when you're about to take a big step and somehow manages to talk you out of it, if you consistently feel worse about yourself after spending time with someone, not better, today is the day that feeling becomes impossible to ignore. And Pluto doesn't lie. It doesn't exaggerate. It just illuminates. Once you see this dynamic clearly, once you really see it, you can't unsee it. The manipulation becomes transparent. The pattern becomes obvious. And then you have a choice. You can pretend you don't see it, go back to the way things were and keep shrinking yourself to maintain the relationship. Or you can acknowledge what's real and start making decisions from that place of clarity. I know which one Pluto is voting for. But there's a third secret. And honestly, this one might be the most confronting of all. Because this one isn't about someone else. It's about the voice inside your own head. And the terrifying question of whether that voice actually belongs to you. Okay. This third secret is the deepest one. And I want you to really sit with what I'm about to say. Here's the question Pluto is asking you today. Who is actually authoring the thoughts in your mind? I know that sounds strange. Bear with me. How many of your beliefs are actually, genuinely yours? How many of your opinions did you form independently through your own experience, your own observation, your own wisdom? And how many were absorbed from your family, your culture, your social media feed, your peer group? The stories you were told about who you are and who you're allowed to be? With Pluto in Aquarius, we're dealing with something massive here. We're dealing with collective programming, the invisible machinery that shapes how entire populations think, what they believe, what they value, what they consider possible. And the terrifying secret that today's transit is exposing is this. Some of your most deeply held beliefs might be completely synthetic. They weren't born from your authentic experience. They were installed by trauma, by the desperate need to fit in, by family systems that needed you to think a certain way to maintain their stability, by social narratives that benefit from keeping you in a particular box. This is what the quincunx energy forces you to sit with. That deeply uncomfortable liminal space where you have to question everything you thought you knew about yourself. Where the story you've been telling about who you are might not actually be true. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. When Mercury and Pluto clash, you're also forced to examine your thought patterns, not just your beliefs, but the actual loops your mind runs on repeat. Pluto governs compulsion. Mercury governs thought. And when they're in hard aspect to each other, you're forced to ask yourself, am I thinking this thought because it's true? Or because I'm afraid of what happens if I stop thinking it? Are you replaying certain narratives on a loop because they reflect reality? Or because they've become a strange kind of comfort zone? A prison you've decorated until it feels like home? Are you holding on to a particular story about yourself because it's accurate? Or because letting it go would mean having to completely rebuild your identity? These are not comfortable questions. I know that.
But here's what I believe with everything in me. On the other side of this excavation is freedom. When you clear out the synthetic thoughts, the borrowed beliefs, the inherited limitations, the programmed self-concepts that were never actually yours, something extraordinary happens. For the first time, maybe in your entire life, you get to find out who you actually are underneath all of that. You get to hear your own voice, your real voice, without all the noise layering over it. And that voice, it's been waiting for you to find it for a very, very long time. Is that terrifying? Yes, absolutely. But is it also the most important thing you could possibly do right now? I really believe it is. Now, there's something I haven't told you yet about how this energy is showing up physically, because this isn't just happening in your mind, it's happening in your body. And if you've been experiencing certain physical sensations over the past 48 to 72 hours, you need to hear this next part.
Let me talk to you about the physical dimension of this transit, because the body doesn't lie. And what's happening right now isn't just psychological. It's showing up in your nervous system, in your muscles, in your throat, in your sleep. The quincunx aspect has this unique connection to physical health. It creates tension that lives in the body, not just the mind. And what I've been hearing from people, and what I've been experiencing myself, is a very specific cluster of symptoms. Restlessness that has no obvious cause, that feeling of being unable to settle, unable to sit still, even when you're exhausted. Tightness in the shoulders and neck, like you've been carrying something heavy, even when you're not. And honestly, you have been. You've been carrying words. Disrupted sleep, waking up at strange hours, particularly around 2 or 3 in the morning, when the subconscious is working hardest to process what the conscious mind is refusing to acknowledge. And this one is the most specific. A sensation in the throat, like something is stuck there, like words are trying to push through, but something is blocking them. Here's why. When you suppress truth, when you hold back words that need to be spoken, that energy doesn't just dissolve. It doesn't disappear because you decide not to speak. It stores itself in your body, particularly in your nervous system, particularly in your throat, Mercury's physical domain. Over time, that stored energy becomes toxic. It becomes inflammation, tension, restlessness, physical symptoms that seem to have no medical explanation. Mercury governs the nervous system. Pluto governs the process of purging toxins from the body. When these two planets are in conflict, the body becomes the battlefield for the war between truth and suppression. And your body always chooses truth eventually, even when your mind tries to hold on. That tightness in your throat, that's not random. That is your body physically trying to push the words out. The sleeplessness, that's your subconscious mind doing the emotional processing your waking mind has been refusing to do. The restlessness, that's your nervous system saying, we cannot carry this anymore. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not diagnosing anyone. If you're experiencing persistent physical symptoms, please speak with a healthcare provider. That's always the right call. But what I am saying is this. The act of finally speaking the truth, of releasing the secret, of breaking the silence, that can provide a quality of physical relief that nothing else can replicate. It's like lancing a wound that's been building pressure for months. It hurts in the moment, but then the pressure is gone. The healing can finally begin. And there's one more cosmic layer to today that makes this timing incredibly significant. There's one more piece of this puzzle I need to share with you, because it's what makes today's energy feel almost orchestrated. This morning, just hours before the exact Mercury-Pluto aspect, the moon moved into Aquarius. Now, the moon rules Cancer, and Cancer is exactly where Mercury is sitting right now. Think about what that means. The moon, the planet of emotion, instinct, and our deepest inner world,
has just moved into Aquarius, the sign of radical truth, detachment, and uncompromising honesty. Your emotional baseline just shifted. The moon in Aquarius cares less about protecting everyone's feelings. It cares more about what's real. It brings this almost cool, clear-eyed quality where we can look at things, painful things, without collapsing under the weight of them. And if you've been afraid to speak your truth because you're worried about how people will react, the moon in Aquarius is literally handing you the emotional detachment to do it anyway. But here's the detail that ties everything together. The moon is moving toward a conjunction with Pluto energy, which means it's activating, amplifying all of that deep, transformative, secret-surfacing Plutonian energy. The moon is bringing it up from the depths. Mercury is trying to process it. The quincunx is creating unbearable pressure. And when the exact aspect hits this afternoon, the dam breaks. The secrets surface. The silence shatters. The truth that's been buried underneath years of compliance and self-protection, it comes out, whether you're ready or not. Have you been feeling this building over the past day or two? Like something is right on the edge? Like a word or a realization or a confrontation is one breath away? Drop "I feel this" in the comments right now if you've been sensing this pressure. I genuinely want to know how many of us are feeling this exact energy today. But here's the question I know you're asking. What actually happens after you speak? What comes next? And I need to be completely honest with you about this, because I'm not going to give you a comforting answer. I'm going to give you the true one.
Let's say you do it. Let's say the pressure becomes too much and you finally say the thing. You have the conversation you've been terrified to have. You speak the truth you've been holding in for months. You confront the person. You say the words you've been swallowing down for so long, they've become a part of your internal landscape. What happens next? I'm going to be straight with you, because you deserve the truth, not a fantasy. There will be consequences. On June 10th, just 6 days from now, Mercury squares Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of reality, accountability, and the tangible results of our choices. Whatever surfaces today, whatever gets revealed, whatever truth gets spoken, Saturn is going to make you deal with the aftermath. Some people might not like what you have to say. That's real. Some relationships might shift, some might end. That's real too. Some structures in your life that were built on a foundation of your silence might crack or crumble. Yes, that's possible. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I don't believe in telling people only the comfortable parts of the truth. But here's what I also believe, completely and without reservation. The cost of continued silence is higher than the cost of speaking. The damage of keeping these secrets buried, of protecting dysfunctional systems, of accommodating the people who need you small, that cost is being paid every single day. In your health, in your creativity, in your self-respect, in the slow erosion of who you actually are. And your body knows it. Your soul knows it. That's why this energy is as intense as it is, because the universe doesn't ask gently forever. Eventually, it stops asking and starts pushing. On the other side of this disruption is freedom, a lighter life, a more honest life, a life built on a foundation of truth rather than a foundation of suppressed resentment and careful, exhausting performance. It might not happen overnight. You might have to rebuild some things, but you'll be building as yourself, the real version of yourself, not the managed, curated, carefully silenced version. And I genuinely believe that's worth everything it costs.
If you're feeling this energy intensely today, I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If words are rising in you that feel bigger than anything you've ever held, if there's something pressing on your heart that has waited far too long, if you've been white-knuckling through conversations, biting your tongue until it bleeds, keeping peace at the cost of your own sanity? Trust what's coming through. Use discernment, obviously. I'm not telling you to blow up your life. I'm not saying to say everything without thought or care. But if there's a truth you know needs to be spoken, today is not the day to silence it again. Because here's something I've watched happen again and again with Mercury-Pluto transits.
Someone finally says the thing they've been most afraid to say, and instead of the world ending like they were sure it would, it's like a massive, crushing weight lifts from their shoulders. Not just for them, but often for everyone around them. Because secrets are heavy. They have weight. They create invisible pressure in the spaces between people. And when that pressure is finally released, when the truth finally speaks, there's a collective exhale. Sometimes the secret you think will destroy everything is exactly the truth that sets everything free. Sometimes your voice, the one you've been suppressing to keep the peace, is the exact thing someone else needed to hear so they could break their silence too. Sometimes your courage becomes someone else's permission. And here's what I need you to remember, especially if this is hitting you hard right now. You are not alone in this, not even close.
I know today might feel intense. I know this energy can feel overwhelming and isolating, and like you're the only one on the planet feeling this kind of pressure. But I need you to hear this. This is a collective transit. Millions of people are feeling the exact same pressure today, the same compulsion to speak, the same secrets rising to the surface, the same awareness beginning to crystallize through the fog. You are part of something much larger than your personal experience right now. We are all being pushed toward greater authenticity at the same time, all being called to break our silences, all being invited, or rather compelled, to reclaim our voices and step into a version of ourselves that doesn't require constant suppression to survive. This is a collective healing moment, even if it doesn't feel like healing right now, even if it feels more like breaking. Sometimes things have to break open before they can heal properly. If you've been feeling like something is wrong with you because you suddenly can't stay quiet anymore, there is nothing wrong with you. You are responding exactly as you should be responding to this energy. You are allowing the transformation to happen instead of fighting it. And that takes real courage, even if it doesn't feel brave, even if it just feels terrifying. So if you're in the thick of this right now, if you're on the edge of a truth that scares you, I see you. I really do. And I believe you are exactly where you are supposed to be.
Before I let you go, I want to leave you with something. Not a prediction, not a warning, a blessing. Close your eyes for just a moment if you can. Take a breath and receive this. May your voice be restored to its full power. May every word you have swallowed in fear rise gently to the surface, transformed from a burden into a blessing. May the people who were meant to hear your truth be ready to receive it. May the courage you need arrive exactly when you need it. May the relationships that cannot survive your authenticity gracefully make space for the ones that can. May the silence that was installed in you be replaced by the magnificent sound of your own voice speaking freely. And may this week mark the beginning of a chapter where you no longer have to choose between your voice and your belonging. Because the right people, they will love you louder when you speak. Now, before I close this out, I want to invite you to do something powerful. Drop one of these in the comments below. Let it be your declaration. Let it be your signal to the universe that you are ready. I reclaim my voice. I am ready to speak my truth. The silence is over. I trust what I know. June 2026 is my breakthrough. These aren't just words. They're commitments. They're the beginning of a new conversation. The one you have with yourself about who you actually are and what you actually deserve. And if this video found you today, if something in these words landed somewhere deep, that was not random. You did not stumble onto this by accident. The universe brought you here.
because you were ready to hear it.
If this message resonated with you, I want to invite you to join the Cosmic Bulletin family. Every single video on this channel is designed with one purpose: to give you the cosmic context, the emotional support, and the spiritual clarity you need to navigate your life with intention and power. We are a community of people who take their growth seriously. People who know that astrology isn't just about horoscopes. It's a living map of the energy moving through all of us in real time. And right now, the universe is delivering messages faster than ever. The transits this summer are significant. The shifts coming in the weeks ahead are ones you're going to want to understand before they arrive. So if you want to be prepared, if you want to know what's coming and how to work with it instead of getting blindsided by it, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and never miss a message the universe may be sending you. This is Cosmic Bulletin. And this community, it's not just a YouTube channel. It's a gathering place for souls who are ready to wake up, speak up, and step fully into the lives they were always meant to live. I'm so glad you're here. I'll see you in the next one.